That's right, Mr. Holdaway. We are here to do a little bit of a dive in regards to understanding how to get money. Because you get money, you can put it to work, and when you put it to work, it makes more money for you.
It's all about leverage. And it's important to understand, Ben, that if you go straight to the bank, they're going to give you the best product that they have.
Yes.
But if you go to a mortgage broker, they'll actually be able to go across different banks and hopefully tailor what you require with maybe that bank or that bank or that bank. So it means you've got a bit of diversity. But
in a lot of cases, there may be a need to refinance and restructure that. So we separate non-deductible debt from deductible debt. And when we get those types of things out, we're then on a platform, a good foundation from which we can leverage into the future.
Yeah, because the investment savvy mortgage broker is doing a little bit of this, aren't they, Ben? They're sort of looking around the corner or having a look over the horizon to actually go, what's actually coming up as to what the decision I'm going to make now. Whereas the transactor, just get it done. Just get it done, doesn't matter, move on to the next one, move on to the next one. So it's really important.
So we talk about servicing assessments, servicing calculators, debt to service ratios. They're all sort of big fancy words, but it's basically looking at the capacity, your ability in terms of how you're able to pay that money back over time. Because remember, taking out debt is not necessarily for everyone, and you always want to make sure you're using debt for productivity outcomes, right? So good outcomes as opposed to bad debt, which is borrowing money for things that are material or don't deliver returns. Oh, you've moved homes every 6 months for the last 5 years. Are you ready to settle down and take on a big mortgage and a big commitment? No, you're
What about moving jobs? What about moving interstate, overseas, all that sort of stuff?
Exactly.
So they want to have a look under the bonnet and see if you are actually a good risk, even though on paper you might stack up. So now line of credit, Ben, that's like a big credit card. So essentially we talked about equity back here.
Yep.
Imagine if you could release some equity and use it like a credit card. It's essentially what a line of credit is, but quite often the interest rate's a little bit higher. So it's important to understand there is a place when a line of credit could make sense, but you could also release some equity and then just put it into an offset account and actually have just a standard variable loan that might be cheaper while still having access to your funds. And if it's in a 100% offset account, which is essentially the money that's in the offset account is offsetting the interest that you're paying on the principal loan. So if you're able to do that, it might be a better way to structure your lending so that you can actually take advantage of a lower rate while still having liquidity so that you can access it for deposits and solicitors and costs and all those sorts of things. So there's a time and a place for those, but it's important to understand that for us, we think that an offset account is one of the key money management tools, let alone lending tools. You've got the opportunity to buy within your own name, or you could buy it within a structure. It could be a company or a trust. Or a lot of people are actually buying with a self-managed super fund. So understanding the options that are available to you within all of these structures, because in your own name you've generally got a lot of options, but as you tend to put structures into the mix, you'll find that the options start to diminish a little bit. But it's important to understand that you need a balance between protecting you. If you're in a highly litigious environment, you might want to put it into a structure, versus if you're not in a litigious structure and you need access to funds. So it's important that you understand what ownership you need, what's best for you from not only from your accountant will give you the advice from a tax perspective, but you also need to get some advice around, sure, you may have the best tax effective structure that's going around, but if you can't get the lending, Ben, on paper it's protecting you, but you can't do anything.
Well, that's right.